Hello students, in this video we are going to study about atomic structure. Now we all know that matter consists of tiny particles called atoms. Now in the early parts of 19th century in 1808, John Dalton proposed the atomic theory. He gave certain postulates. Out of these, most of the postulates were later on proved wrong. He gave certain postulates like matter consists of small indivisible particles called atoms which can neither be created nor destroyed. Atoms of the same element are alike in every aspect and differ from atoms of other elements. Atoms combine with other atoms in simple whole number ratios forming compounds or molecules. Now the modern theory, however, correlates with Dalton's atomic theory in the fact that atoms are the smallest unit of matter taking part in chemical reactions. Now the postulate that atoms are indestructible or they cannot be divided into anything simpler was proved wrong when in 1878 William Crookes he carried out a discharge tube experiment. He took a glass tube and filled this glass tube with a gas and he passed electric current through this. Now this gas filled was connected to a vacuum pump so that the pressure of this is very less, of the order of 0.01 millimeter of mercury pressure. He saw when he applied electric current through this, he saw streams of particles getting emanated from the negative electrode, that is cathode. And Sir J.J. Thomson in 1897, he studied the characteristics and properties of these cathode rays and said that these consisted of streams of negatively charged particles and he named them electrons. Okay, and he studied the other properties like they have very less mass. The mass of an electron is of the order of 1 by 1837 of the mass of a hydrogen atom. Now an atom is electrically neutral. So another scientist, Goldstein, he carried out the same experiment, the same discharge tube experiment, and he found that streams of positively charged particles were emanated from the side opposite to that of electrons. And he took a perforated anode and perforated cathode and he called these the canal rays or the anode rays. And he found out that these consisted of streams of positively charged particles and these were called protons. Now the protons were carried 1 unit positive charge and it has a mass of 1.670 into 10 to the power 24 grams, or it is relatively 1837 times as heavy as an electron. So these were considerably heavy particles. Now James Chadwick in 1932 he discovered the neutrons, which were the third subatomic particle. Now what led to the discovery of neutrons? Now electrons have negligible mass, hence the mass of an atom is concentrated or depends upon the mass of the proton. So what happened? One helium atom consists of 2 protons, so its mass should have been 2 times as heavier as one hydrogen atom, so it should be nearly 4, but practically or experimentally it was found to be 4 times. So this gave the view that there must be some third particle inside an atom which contributes to the mass but does not carry any charge. So this led to the discovery of neutrons. Now we came to know that there are three subatomic particles: the electrons, protons and the neutrons. Protons and neutrons. Now electrons have a unit negative charge and its absolute value is 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Protons carry a unit positive charge and its absolute value is 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, same as that of electron but with opposite sign. And neutrons carry no charge. Next come to the mass. Now the mass of electrons is negligible. It is 1837 times of the mass of one proton or one hydrogen atom. And its absolute value is 9.107 into 10 to the power minus 28 grams. Now a proton is 183 times heavier than an electron, and its absolute value is 1.670 into 10 to the power 24 grams. Similarly, a neutron, which is a neutral subatomic particle, has a mass of 1.676 into 10 to the power 24 grams. It's nearly equal to that of a proton. Then this was just electrons were discovered by J.J. Thomson. Protons were discovered by Goldstein, as I already told you, and neutrons were discovered by Chadwick. Now, after the discovery of the three subatomic particles, the next challenge in front of the scientists was how these subatomic particles were arranged inside an atom. So, several models came up. The first one was given by Thomson, J.J. Thomson, whose model was known as the plum pudding model. He said that the entire charge and mass was distributed evenly throughout the atom, and negatively charged electrons were studded here and there, just like a plum or cherry in a pudding. Now this theory was discarded, and then Rutherford carried out a gold foil experiment, or gold foil scattering experiment, where he bombarded alpha particles through a very thin gold foil. The thickness of the gold foil was of the order of 1/1,000,000th of a centimeter. It was that thin. Now alpha particles are doubly charged helium atoms. Now helium atoms have 2 electrons, 2 neutrons and 2 protons, and out of this 2 electrons were removed. So this becomes He2+. Now this is an alpha particle. Now he bombarded these alpha particles through the thin gold foil, and he recorded his observations. He saw that some rays passed through some vacant places through the atom and created a fluorescence on the opposite side of the screen, or behind the gold foil which was kept. Some rays, they got hit and they deflected by nearly 180 degrees. Okay, this was a gold foil, very thin gold foil. This was the screen on which the alpha particles, most of them, bombarded and created a glow on the, and there were yet some particles which got deflected by certain angles. Now based on these observations, Rutherford gave the model which has an analogy to our solar system. He said the center, because some rays, they got deflected by nearly 180 degrees, he said that there must be something very heavy at the center of an atom. So he called this the nucleus, where protons and neutrons reside, and electrons move around the nucleus in orbits. He gave this. Now this was considered to be correct unless he could not explain still he could not explain the stability of an atom. Now according to electrodynamics, a charged particle when moving, or a moving charged particle, constantly radiates energy, and if an electron which is charged constantly emanates or radiates energy, it should constantly lose energy and spirally collapse inside the nucleus. But this does not happen. Practically we have atoms existing and we don't see an atom collapsing or getting destroyed. So this was discarded, and then Bohr, he gave the next model. He said that electrons do revolve around the nucleus, and the nucleus contains neutrons and protons as suggested by Rutherford. But he said electrons revolve around the orbits in certain orbits which are called shells or energy levels. Energy levels. Now, as long as an electron revolves around a particular orbit, it does not lose or absorb any energy. But in case an atom jumps from a lower energy level or orbit to a higher orbit energy level, it will absorb energy, and conversely, when it jumps from, or when transition takes place from a higher energy level to a lower energy level, in that case it will emanate or radiate energy. Understood? So he named these shells as K shell next to the nucleus, L, M and N. These are the names of the shells. Then Bohr along with Bury gave two rules for filling up electrons in these particular shells. Now the first rule was the 2n square rule, where he said that the number of electrons which can be accommodated in a particular shell is given by the formula 2n square, where n is the shell number or the number of the shell. Shell number or number of the shell. For example, for K shell, which is the innermost shell, n is equal to 1. So the number of electrons which can be accommodated is 2 into 1 square, that is equal to 2. So K shell can accommodate at the maximum of 2 electrons. Now for L shell, where n is equal to 2, the number of electrons that can be accommodated is 8. 2 square is 4, 4 into 2, 8. For M shell, shell number is 3, so 2 into 3 square, that is 18. Similarly, N shell can accommodate 32 electrons at the most. Is it clear?